Hi, I'm Nicole Sears, and today I want to talk about using the body's wisdom to help us understand our emotional states. So, our bodies are incredibly wise. They are constantly sending us signals and messages and information, which can tell us a lot about our emotional state. So the more in tune we get with our bodies, the better we become at making those translations and then figuring out how we want to proceed. So I'll illustrate what I'm talking about with two personal examples around the emotion of fear. Recently, I went on a whitewater rafting trip. And we were in the mountains of West Virginia on the Gauley River, and the upper Gauley River is some huge, huge, huge water. People come from all over the world to raft this river because it's a big deal. And I kept telling myself that I was scared, but I was going to be okay. That I wasn't really as scared as, I thought I might be. And I would, in my mind was just going, oh, you're going to be fine. You've rafted before, you rafted the lower Gauley. Everything's going to be fine. But when I turned inward and did a body check in one day when I was in a movement class, I could feel all this fear just like swirling around my rib cage. And I was like, oh, I'm actually terrified. So even though my mind was saying, oh, it's going to be fine, I'm not really that scared, my body was reminding me that I actually had a lot of fear around this rafting trip. And would I be safe? And would I be able to physically keep up? And would I be able to do it? So having that information helped me approach the trip much differently than if I had just kept, listening to my mind that was saying, oh, it's going to be fine, and just stuffing that fear down. Acknowledging the fear, letting myself feel it, I was able to do some practices that helped me release a lot of it so that I was able to really show up and give my very best efforts when I was actually on the river. The second instance happened very shortly after that whitewater rafting trip. We received word that there were some very violent threats being made at my daughter's school. And it was terrifying, and my mind was, almost in paralysis about how scary this is. I'm terrified. I don't know what steps to take to make sure my daughter's safe, to make sure the people at her school are safe. And while that was what my mind was just screaming at me, I was like, okay, I'm going to just go to my practices. I'm going to use my breath. I'm going to get quiet. I'm going to do some movement and check in and see, how do I really feel? And what I really felt was a really calm center. Because even though this terrifying thing was happening and I was scared of it, I also felt a lot of peace that I knew what was going to be best for my daughter, which was, we made a decision to keep her home. And that gave us just a lot of peace. So in both those instances, my mind was telling me one thing about how I was feeling around fear, and my body was telling me something really different. And when I was able to really tune in to what my body was saying, then I was able to make decisions that felt really aligned and right for me. So don't be afraid to go a little past what your mind's saying to check into what your body's saying. And the way that I like to do that, again, is I get quiet. So maybe that looks like actual silence. Maybe that looks like putting on some music that helps you quiet down in your mind. For me, a lot of times it means I actually have to close my eyes. Closing my eyes is a signal that I am turning inward for me. So if that feels good, you could close your eyes. A lot of times it also looks like me doing some sort of gentle movement. Maybe it is wild soul wisdom movement practice. Maybe it's a yoga pose. Maybe it's just sitting quietly. Excuse me, maybe it's taking a walk, in which case my eyes aren't closed. But I just start to move. I let myself breathe and just tune in. How do I actually feel? And then I just sit with that question and see what comes up. And once I've got really the root of how I'm feeling, a lot of times then my mind can go, oh, well, then this is the step I want to take. This is the action I want. So I'd love to know if you use body check-ins to really figure out what's going on with your emotions, or if you're willing to try it and let me know how it goes. Take good care.